Hello, everybody. I'm Mel Dora, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, and I am so excited. We got to do this more often. And I've got
Yeah.
Deann in the house, and I've got Lena from down under. Yay.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Wow, this is so exciting, and it's a great way to start. It's a great way to start the holiday season. So happy
Yeah.
holidays, everybody. Um, Okay, so Deann, let's get the business aspect out of the way first.
Okay.
If they want to get a hold of you, how do they do it?
They can either email me at Deann, Deanns, Deanns, Shield Maiden Tarot at gmail.com, or to be easier, they can call me, text me, usually. It's 1-833-277-8105.
Okay, there you go. And you have some exciting news about a holiday special, Deann. What is that about?
Also, I forgot to tell you, they can also go to my site, manifestshop.net, and they can book a reading there as well.
Okay.
I'm doing a holiday sale for the manifest oils. I have all different kinds of oils. They're manifesting oil for protection, for money, for love, for anything you can think of, court case. And I make them with crystals and different oils and herbs and resins that are for that particular reason. And I've used them for 5 years. They're wonderful. They work. Everybody has loved them. But I'm doing a holiday sale. If you go to the checkout, and you put happy holidays, you get 20% off the whole sale. So the more you buy, the more money you get off.
Okay. And Lena, and by the way, try Deann's oils. They're incredible.
I love them.
Lena, how do they get a hold of you?
Okay. So if you go to my channel, Tarot Down Under, I usually, but not always, put my secret email there, which I shall now reveal. No, I'll leave it till you, Mel. You could put it up maybe under the video.
Okay,
I
will
contact me. And I'll be starting readings again probably in January.
I can tell it's late spring or beginning of early summer down under because you've got short sleeves on.
I've got arms.
Not me.
We're in Chicago. It's freezing.
It's freezing here.
Yeah, aloha freezing.
I've always got my aloha shirt on. So anyway, okay. So are we ready to get started?
Yes.
There we go. The first thing I want to talk about, people are wanting to know if Donald Trump will take office.
It's a dicey one, isn't it?
Well, my prediction is I don't see him finishing out his term in office.
Yeah.
And my prediction is that the Democrats are already starting strategically to plan taking over the House and the Senate during the midterms. And my feeling is they will. The 13th Congressional District of California just voted a Democrat in. So it's a razor thin margin in the House. And there's going to be 3 seats coming up. So my feeling is that the midterms that the Democrats will control House and Senate. I'm not saying Trump won't take office. I just don't see him finishing out his term.
No.
And what do you think, Lena?
Well, without cards, what I actually think is I agree with you in that he might stumble into the role, but he's on borrowed time.
Mm-hmm.
That's my vibe very strongly. He's on borrowed time. He doesn't look well. Now, at the risk of boy crying wolf, we've been saying for 3 years he doesn't look well, and he hasn't. But it's a different dimension now, those weird lips and everything else. But I think he's also at risk in terms of these profoundly stupid tariffs that are mind-bending.
Yes.
I don't see how big business will let him continue with this. I think he'll be a lame duck. If he gets inaugurated, he will be a lame duck, and I wouldn't give him more than a year. That's my feel.
Okay. And what do you think, Deann?
I read on this not too long ago, and I get that Unfortunately, nobody knows for sure. I'm praying they come out with something, but I feel like he's going to get in. However, I've been getting, if he does get in, and I'm praying that they come up with something, they're doing
Oh,
something.
yeah, me
I don't
too.
know.
Yeah.
But if he does get in, I feel like it will be under a year is what I have been getting. And I see his health failing, mental and physical. And I just, I feel like something's going to take him out. And I feel everybody, all these criminals that he's got with him, he's going to take them down too. Just like he took them down in 2016. They're all going down eventually. They'll be sorry they were with him.
Well, I guess people are nervous then if Elon Musk Elon Musk thinks he's running the country, but people are nervous about Vance becoming president. So I guess the question would be, is if he does, and I think he will, but I'm not worried about Project 2025 and them trying to get all the things done they think they're going to get done. Because there's a lot of people right now, a lot of Republicans in the Senate who will not go with Trump's drum beat. And I think there's a lot of other, during the midterms, we'll have the House and the Senate. And if J.D. Vance takes over, he's going to be another lame duck. What do you all think about
that? What do you think, Deann?
Well, I don't think anybody really likes him. I feel like you haven't even seen hide nor hair of him. You've been seeing just Elon. So I don't think, let me see, will Elon be put in?
Well, he'd have to be vice president.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm just wondering, will he last? If
Elon Musk can't be president. He wasn't born.
He's not going to do very well. People don't like him, and I don't feel if he stays in re-election, I just keep feeling like something's going to come up, that there's some information is going to come out that they cheated. They don't have it all yet, but I feel like something might come out. If it doesn't, if I'm wrong, I don't feel he will be re-elected. They're going to mess things up so bad that nobody's going to want them in again.
What do you think, Lena?
Exactly. I think he's public poison. If he gets by default, gets there, it's not as though he's such a strong, fabulous candidate that the GOP will fall into line behind Vance.
No.
So look how many times it took them. I think it was 15 votes to just elect a Speaker of the House. Not just, it's a very important position. But can you imagine what they do with a leadership vote? So they're just going to reveal themselves for their chronic misery and ineptitude. And sadly, we have to watch it all unfold.
I know, that's the sad part. But everybody, don't panic. We still have our voices.
Yes.
I was worried about, leaving the country. I think a lot of people are. But, I was talking to a friend of mine in Florida, and she's of Mexican descent, and she's a citizen. And she said, and it was so beautiful, I will not let Donald Trump run me out of my country. So I was like, whoa. But the one thing we can't lose is our will and our voices. He's going to try to silence all of us. But
exactly. And it's so important not to give in to the fear and the anxiety and just become paralyzed. It's really, really important to connect with each other and keep making strategic little points of resistance.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a very valuable lesson in the last few days in South Korea.
Yes.
So the South Korean president, unpopular, doing badly, thought, I know, I'll declare martial law. Yeah. Well, millions of South Koreans went on the street. The military refused to engage and were just on the side. But it was millions and millions and millions of people everywhere. And so within 36 hours, he's been given the ultimatum, resign or be impeached. Ooh. And we're talking a real impeachment, not an American one. He will go to jail or he resigns. So he will, surprise, surprise, resign. But the point is, if the South Koreans had stayed home going, oh, this is so terrible, he's declared martial law, what if he comes after me? And if they'd retreated and just what's happening online, they would be under martial law as we speak. And they're not, because they got up, walked out, and stood up.
I'm glad you brought that up, Deann, because I see a lot of people here protesting in the streets. Trump might try martial law, and I got a funny feeling he will, or Vance. But I even think at that juncture, his generals and things like that would say absolutely not. And American people are also going to get fed up of Elon Musk, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, he's losing his shine.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, I just got to touch on this. There was an earthquake in California, and people were worried about tsunamis. So people are asking if Linda Grindle's okay. And I got a text from Linda. Her humor is incredible. Let me find it. I'll share it with everybody. She texted me that they had a 7.0 and 6.0 earthquake in California north of her. And I said, I just got your text. Are you okay? And she answered back, no, I'm desperate. No chocolate anywhere.
That's our Linda.
Yeah, that's why we love her.
And I texted her back, swear word, explicative. When I first heard the first part of your text, I got nervous. Then I read the chocolate part, laugh out loud. Hope it doesn't affect getting fried chicken, I wrote back. So Linda texted me, the person eating, and there's my answer. So Linda is okay, you all. So I just anyway. All right. So yeah, Linda's good. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so the First Amendment. A lot of people are nervous about our First Amendment rights. And I'll run over those really quickly. One is freedom of speech. We have our freedom of speech. 2 is freedom of religion. And that it prevents the government from establishing a national religion of favoring one over the other. And we all know what the ultra right-wing Christian nationalists will try. We get that. Freedom of assembly. That means we have the right to peaceful assemble. So when Trump says he'll pull in troops against people protesting, that's unconstitutional. Freedom of petition means that we have the right to ask government to fix something or change something without us having fear of reprisal. So Kash Patel, that Trump has trying to push for the head of the FBI, has publicly said and vowed to find ways to punish those who criticize Trump. My question to you all is, number one, will he succeed in taking away our First Amendment rights? I don't feel he will. He'll try
so we're going to read on that?
I'm sorry? Yes.
Yeah.
Will he succeed in taking away our First Amendment rights? Is the question.
We'll try.
So I'm just going to look at the First Amendment. See, this is the problem with these Christo-fascist flat earthers. They don't get the foundation of the Constitution. Right. And it was about freedom of religion and freedom from religion. Right. If you chose to live that life, they don't get it.
I agree with that. They don't get it.
Is the First Amendment. And even Lauren Stupid Bobart was running around last week going, don't talk to me about the separation of church and state. Now, that's the longest sentence she's ever uttered.
Right.
Okay. It means she's heard it a lot. And now they're resisting it as a concept. But they don't realize they're attacking the Constitution.
Right, exactly. The very thing they say they want more individual rights. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, their freedom, not anyone else's. Well, I can go if you want, Mel.
Yeah, go ahead.
The cards are just like a storybook, the thing. very quickly, with the sentiment, he's going to try. He's going to try and cut corners, cut into the legal rights of every living American citizen. You better believe it. Why? Because he's the emperor. So he's going to give it a good crack, right? Here. But it's a very confused scenario. And I think this is talking about confused on a lot of levels, people being confused. Oh, what does it mean? They've just taken MSNBC off the air. Does that affect me? Sort of confusion. And or whatever justification they use will be confusing. It actually won't make sense because they're so ineffectual. And they're going to blow it, I think, by having this confused message. And people will be emotional about it and should be emotional about it.
Absolutely.
Right.
The first thing I think
I don't see it happening.
I think they'll try to mess with freedom of press, like Elon Musk is going to try to buy up a lot of the news networks.
Yeah.
But at first, it might look like he succeeds, but I agree, Lena, he won't.
Yeah.
And, he just spent, I think, 150,000 pounds or something to donate to some party in England, Conservative Party, to try to control their parliament. That's going to blow up as well. So, he's going to try to buy all these governments and all the press, and he's not going to succeed. I see him crumbling. I do. And I see he and Trump having a big falling out, but that's another song for a different day. Deann, what do you think about the First Amendment?
Well, I got the Hierophant, which is like for traditional values and institutions. So they want everybody to conform to the way they are, their values, their beliefs, their religion, and I get that they're going to have a hard time balancing being able to do that. I don't see it with the Ace of Wands. It's in reverse. I don't see it going forward. And I think there's going to be a lot of judgment, and people are going to kind of start to awaken more. Some of these, this can stand for an awakening too. So it may awaken some people to what he's trying to do. This is
Exactly.
Okay. Jeff Stein. Hi, Jeff. Jeff just donated money. Thank you, Jeff. All tonight's money will go to Chicago Canine Rescue. So, all right. So let's start with our questions. I'm trying to start questions as we go along here. Okay. So let's go with this one. Laurie Scryer says, Elon Musk gets large amounts of money in government contracts. That he does. He is talking about cutting government funding. Yeah, because Trump made him and somebody else the head of this thing that's supposed to cut government funding and try to do away with government jobs and stuff like that. She says, isn't that a conflict of interest? Will he be able to do that? So what do you think, Deann?
Talking about cutting government funding? Will Elon Musk be able to cut?
Elon Musk, I think they call it DOGE or something.
Yeah.
It's something that
Department of Government Efficiency.
There you go.
Fascists always have these acronyms.
I don't feel he's going to try. He's definitely going to try. Let's see here. But he's going to have some hardship in doing that. I get no. A no card, death card.
Okay. I think they'll try, but it's going to be tied up in the courts for such a long time, like doing away with people's jobs and trying to more like privatize a lot of these agencies and get rid of people's jobs across the board. That's not going to fly.
No.
And I think they'll justify cutting funding to Ukraine as part of that DOGE program.
Oh, yeah. Ukraine's not going to get another cent after January 20 if they are brought in this.
Poor Zelensky. I felt so sorry for him when he was standing by Trump. You could just see it on his face.
Yeah.
Lena, what do you think about it?
Well, I think that's what gives him his jollies, as we say. Taking money from poor people is what Elon does for a living, right? Because he takes enormous amounts of corporate welfare. So let's start calling it what it is: corporate welfare. right? And he has got, in one thing he got $465 billion of your money for one of his projects. The other thing is all the money that used to go to NASA, huge amounts are being siphoned into one individual who is not American by birth, Elon Musk. He's getting all this research money. So this is the typical conservative thing too. I don't want a big government. I want a small government, because Reagan told me small governments were good. So that's what no, they don't realize the money they use for survival is government money. There's this disconnect between red state Republican voters. They've missed the last 50 years of economics. Right? They've completely missed it. They're deluded into thinking they're independent and they're going to stay fiercely independent of government. What are they going to do when the cap's lifted on insulin? Are you going to pay for your mum's insulin that used to cost $30 and now costs $240 every month? Is that you, pet? You know, like they just don't get it.
No.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I will try is my answer. Yeah.
Well, with Ukraine, what's going to happen, I feel, is I don't think under Trump they're going to get another nickel, or under Elon Musk.
No.
But I do feel like the European Union will get very strong, and NATO, and start funneling money and weapons to Ukraine. That's what I see. What you said, Lena, about the insulin. I just heard today before the show that Blue Cross Blue Shield Anthem, it's an insurance company for healthcare insurance. Grab this one. What they tried to do was put a limit, specify time limits on how long anesthesia takes when you're under anesthesia. And if it goes over that the patient would have to pay.
Over an hour. What if it's heart surgery, brain surgery, replacement of an organ?
I'm sorry. This is just the pimple on the rhinoceros. You have not got a health service. You've got a health insurance industry.
Right.
Okay? It is not healthcare.
Right.
No.
Well,
and more people with chronic long-term illnesses who can't get treatment in a timely manner, you're going to see, and it's already a problem in the US as we sit here, let alone when Trump gets in, people die 10 or 15 years earlier than they need to if they haven't got proper insurance coverage. They're dying because they're American.
Right.
And I mean that as a shocking statement.
It's true.
But it's true. If they were in Australia, Italy, France, Spain, the UK, they would not be dead.
There was such an
so what else do you call it?
There was such an outcry about it from doctors and everybody that they rescinded it. But psychically, I felt that was a litmus test to see what
Totally. And this is where they're going to, I think people are starting to stand up. I think Dem voters have got to the angry stage. If you look at the 7 stages of grief, people are now at the angry stage, I think almost for the first time. Up until now, it's been like assault after assault and struggling to make do and keep on paddling. And now they're going, no.
Right.
Just no. So that's a case in point. Resist. You're not going to win every battle, but you're not going to let them walk over you.
Right.
Well, that's exactly what's going to happen in this country. A lot of people are having voters' remorse. And grab this one. Well, I shouldn't have voted for him. Can I take back my vote? No, you can't.
And you're condemning 350 people to live with your ill-conceived vote.
Correct.
But I think almost my optimistic self really feels genuinely it has to get this bad to wake people up and bring them out. And so our job, I think, in our community generally, and our viewers who are all switched on, compassionate people, that it's time. and to be part of the vision for the new, more compassionate America on the other side of this caca, right?
Have you heard about the FAFO thing? I said it's
I love it.
Yes, and I think you're right, Lena. I think that's what I said on the last show I did, that they had to, maybe this is happening because these people won't care unless it affects them personally.
Yeah,
They'll have
and
to
it's
see
going to
personally.
affect everyone. A little or a lot, but it's going to affect everyone.
Everyone.
Just wait until they try to bring back pre-existing conditions.
Oh my gosh.
Well, yes, exactly my point, because I'm a health sociologist, so I've lectured on this stuff for years.
Right.
The majority of people have long-term pre-existing conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's something like 65% of Americans and rising.
Right.
Yes.
And, so, people will be in uproar about that.
Good.
And it's just a way to try to chisel away at things like they did Roe v. Wade.
Look, at the end of this, as an outsider, even though I've been here every day for 7 years, but as an outsider, I thought in my heart, the US is a million miles from universal health care. Bernie did his best and still a million miles. But I think a year or two of this chaos and vicious cruelty and suffering is going to spur people on, and it could lead, not instantly, finally, to America joining the grown-up world, coming out of the third world with healthcare into something resembling a modern society.
I just noticed that Linda G is in the house, and she gave us a super sticker.
You're a honey. Mwah, mwah.
And congratulations to Linda. She hit her 100,000 subscriber mark.
That is awesome, Linda. Carry the torch, doll. Carry the torch.
I remember in earlier spring, I told Linda by the end of this year, early part of next, you're going to hit 100,000 subscribers. And
there you go.
When we went off, she said, "What are you on?" I said, "I don't know, but we'll see."
So deserved. Thank you.
Yeah.
She's out there constantly reassuring people. Good on you, doll.
Okay, and here's another sticker from Jana.
Jana.
Thank you very much. Oh goodness, and we got one here from Gladfly. Now let me get back to the comments. I'm trying to work all this on my own, so I don't know how well I'm doing with it, but give me 1 second. Okay.
Yeah, Lena, talking about the anesthesia, I had to get some injections in my back, and they're long needles and they have to go in deep. And they told me this time they usually put me out for it, so they're not allowed to do that anymore. Or I have to pay for the anesthesia myself. And it was like $800 or something. And so the doctor knew that I was afraid I was, and it was going to be painful. So he ended up lowering the price for me. But they already are doing that to a degree.
Which is really bad because, I used to be a medical social worker and as a medical intuitive, albeit I'm not a physician. When you're in that kind of pain, it hinders, your recovery. It can cause other things to happen in your body, and it's just not healthy,
It's a trauma. It adds trauma to the pain.
No. And it doesn't make for, I think, it's hard for American doctors to work within the system too. It's different if they're just after money. They specialize early on, and I call it specialists in the left nostril,
Right.
and that's one lot. But I don't believe the majority of people are that crude about money. So in a society like Australia, the UK or something, if you're doing medicine, the chances are you're either going to be working in the public system, or some do both. They do public 3 days a week. They have a private practice 2 days a week where they make more from insured patients. Because in Australia, you can get health insurance, and almost half of Australians do have it. But our private, I've never had it. I've always dealt with the public system. But what that does, it costs 1,200 to 1,500 Australian. So it's about $1,000 a year America for the private insurance. And people get that because it covers dental and you get your own room at the I never had a lazy $1,000 because I'd always spend it on an air ticket. But the point is, it doesn't matter what happens to you. It can be an acute thing like needing stents in your heart at 2 a.m, all free. You could have premature twins who can't leave the hospital for 4 months. They're in intensive care, free.
Wow.
Everything is free if you want it or need it. Now, the next point's important. When I say free, the fairies don't pay for it. No. It's taken out of our tax. You pay tax as an Australian, understanding 1.5%, that's all it is. 1.5% of your tax that you're already paying goes directly into Medicare. And I have nothing. I've worked for 45 years. I've paid for my gallbladder operation now. Thank you. Right. But do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we paid for ours too through Social Security pay.
Oh, totally. But you don't get the prize because everyone's allergic to government.
Correct.
Okay, so it's more about shifting the mindset of Americans from government being bad to government should be providing good quality health, education, infrastructure. You know, it's shifting the brain away.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny, when I was in Europe, in Germany, we were talking about healthcare. And so in German, they used to give you something called a Krankenschein. It literally translated means sick ticket.
It sounds like a sex toy, Mel. Are you sure you got the story right?
Yeah, I have a Krankenschein.
I believe it.
Yeah, we all do if you're in Germany. So you can go to the doctor, but if you get private healthcare, you get through the system quicker and you get some of the fluff. And I said, well, how much is private healthcare? $200 or $300 a month. And they asked how much we were paying here. And when Gary was working, I said for both of us, close to $2,000 a month. And they couldn't
It's
believe
insane.
We couldn't afford it.
And it's been normalized.
Right.
So you just hope you can afford it. You're not critical of it. You just, can I afford this thing that I need? It's outrageous.
I mean, even our Medicare comes out to almost $500 a month. So they take that out of the Social Security. So it's like,
it's insane.
What
It's a really cruel system.
It is.
And I think it was Nixon who privatized it big time. I can't remember the history now, because I think Roosevelt brought in something and then Nixon made it all private.
There you go.
No, I hope, if nothing else comes out of this, I hope people really wake up to the real role of government.
I agree.
And stop being influenced by tin pot pastors and reverends who are telling them.
I think that's what this is all about, is waking up people to, wait a minute, but does it have to really come to this? It's sad that it came to this point.
Well, there was a chance right until 3 minutes ago that the vote could have gone differently. We all individually seriously think there was something very strange about them. The numbers do not add up. So for viewers, we're really sympathetic to that point of view.
Oh, yeah.
But as we're sitting here, it's not dead in the water yet, more twists in the tail. But enough people did vote for this clown, which shows people not only are not thinking, they're proud of not thinking.
Right. And that's what scares me more, are the people that did vote for him. And albeit it was less than voted for him the last time, it's still frightening.
It is frightening. And it's this big daddy thing or something. I don't know.
That's so gross.
What is it about, you know? And I hate this argument. You get it in Australia, you get it in UK and everywhere too. The conservative line is, we need a good businessman as the Prime Minister or the President. No, you don't. And I'll tell you why. Not only is he not a good businessman, that's separate, but why you don't. Governments are not businesses.
Right.
You get huge revenue, and then you have a responsibility to deliver that evenly and compassionately back to your people. That is not a business model.
No.
When Bill
We've got to stop thinking of government departments as potential profit makers.
When Bill Clinton was president, he took over, we were in a horrible mess. By the time he was done 8 years in office, he left. We had no deficit at all. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He ran it like a government. When George Bush took over after 8 years, the economy was almost bankrupt.
Exactly. But that narrative does not take hold.
Right.
If you did an interview with 100 people, wouldn't matter if it was New York or Tijuana. Oh, well, you know, the Republicans are good with money and the Dems only spend it. No, the Dems and Labor always have to clean up after the spending of the Conservatives.
Bingo. Here's a good question. Jeffrey Stein says, do you see election interference coming to light and Kamala possibly coming in? I'd like to think that. I just don't see it. But there will be a lot coming to light about whistleblowers coming forward.
Yep.
People coming out of Russia, investigative journalism saying that once again, we all know Russia interfered, that there was a lot of, I don't want to say fraud, but tampering going on. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, and I think it was different in different places and all sorts of things. But they were calling states 10 minutes after the polls closed.
Right, yeah.
You know, it was rubbish. And had 60 million people gone out, it might have gone a different way. However, they didn't. And now we're here. And so I think you can hold the light, but understand that if this plays out in the sense that this orangutan gets in, there's a bigger picture at play that could be better. Because if you think about it, let's say we reverse it and Kamala just pipped him at the post. She would have been shredded and attacked every waking moment for the next 4 years. People would be screaming and saying, oh, yeah, we can't do that. And look what's happened. And blah, 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 blah. Sorry, they have to live it.
Yeah.
But I think if you understand that in the bigger picture, it helps.
I agree. I totally agree. What do you think, Deann?
Well, I feel like they are still investigating things on the down low, trying to find out, but it would have to be, you know, proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. Otherwise, like Lena said, these people would throw fits. I was upset at first that why are you conceding? Why aren't you asking for a recount? You know, he would, you know, and like you said, they called the votes before they just closed it. They didn't have time to count the votes. And they were saying, this is red, this is red. And we had bomb threats and we had burned up. Some people didn't, they burn some of the polling stations. So there was cheating. I really feel with all my heart she won. She had massive crowds. She had every star.
Early voting was through the roof.
Yes. And he couldn't fill up a gymnasium and he just stood there and swayed. So I know
she had the wave.
Yes. I
don't blame her for 1 minute. I'm not on the criticism. She did the best she humanly can.
Yeah.
But they should not have conceded so early. None of us will ever understand why. And I think that was a fatal boo-boo.
Yes, and I feel like she did it, you know, as the reason she did it is because she knew if she, without proof, if she would have said something, it would cause mass chaos. And so they are trying to keep peace. And I think that's why they're trying to do things on the down low. But whether they come up with enough or not, I don't know. I'm feeling like he may get in for a little bit, though. I hope not.
I was fearful that when Biden stepped down, I think I was doing a show with Kevin Chandler, and I said, I fear that they just handed this election to Trump. And I got so much flack for that. But I think
we all agree it's not going to be a cruisy 4 years for this man. He'll be lucky to make it through one.
That's my point. Okay, so here's a good one. We're all good. Oh, by the way, everybody, thank you for your support. We couldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you all, so thank you.
Yes, thanks, guys.
Jenny S. said Newsom, the governor of California, was asked at a conference today why Dems lost. He said it will all come to light in time. Does he know something?
Eventually.
Well, see, here's the thing as I see it. He would probably be aware of what happened here, there, right? But this is the problem for Kamala. If it was even tighter than it is, they didn't do one thing. There wasn't a little bit of Russian interference and they walked away. So it was gerrymandering here. It was votes in the back of cars there. It was putting husbands and wives in, the same booth, two people, one vote coming out the other side. There was every sort of thing. So that's why it's virtually impossible, because we can be outraged about this and that and that. But for most people looking for a way out, they're not. It's too bitty. There were too many thefts.
Yeah. They even found big old blue tubs on the side of the road that had ballots in them. Somebody found a great big bag on the side of the road and turned it in that had ballots in it. Some people were checking and their votes were not counted. Some people that were veterans that were overseas, they were questioning. They have the right to question the vote. And he put Republican people in there, MAGA people, to do that. And so they said, well, you have to come in and prove you're an American citizen. Well, they're in the service overseas. So they, like you said, Lena, they did so many little things and then you got Elon, who's a computer genius, and a $300 billion, and Putin. So it's going to be tough to prove, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be definite proof the Russians interfered.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of whistleblowers coming out saying the exact things you all are talking about. It reminds me of Chicago politics 60 or 70 years ago.
Yeah.
People were voting, I mean.
Yeah, we've got to remember this. It isn't new, right? There's been cycles of repressive stuff, particularly with the GOP.
New, Okay. Sherry Voices from the Swamp is in the house. Hi, Sherry. Kevin is in the house. Hi, Kevin. I'm trying to read the comments and narrate and do everything. So
hard. I know.
It is hard. Okay. Colleen says, will Biden address the nation? Deann, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm asking my pendulum. I'll just do a pendulum. Will Biden address the nation? Will Biden address the nation? Okay, it's saying yes.
Okay. What do you think, Lena?
I think he will. I think he will.
I know he will. If nothing else, it's not really. I think it's just more to calm people's nerves, is what I think.
Well, he has to. He can't slink out the back door. He is the leader of the country now. He must speak, and it's got to be a killer speech.
Yep.
I hope he's got his best speech writers on it. It has to inspire people to carry on, to resist this tyranny. It has to be the speech of his lifetime.
I agree. Okay. So here's a good one, I think. Let me find it. I just wrote this in my notes, and sometimes I come up with questions too. Let's say maybe 15 years ago, if somebody would have told us, 20 years ago, if somebody would have told us what's going on now would be happening, we'd be like, you're crazy. It would never happen in America. It.
And I think that's a reason why all of us collectively as readers didn't see the clear horror. Because I think in a way, Spirit is protecting us individually from some of that horror, but also people have free will until they don't, right? So people were given the opportunity to make this happen. And I think it was an open book until someone slammed the book shut. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I agree with that.
Because if we'd gone on 4 years ago going, oh, no, the Dems are going to be out and he's going to be in for a second term, no one would have tuned in again. I wouldn't have continued reading.
Right.
If I had genuinely seen that, I couldn't have done it.
Well, I think, what's going on here, what's happened here is starting to happen in Canada in some of the provinces. Who's
Absolutely.
that crazy lady who says she's the Queen of Canada? So I guess the question is, will it spread to other countries, other democratic countries like Canada or Australia?
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to get a conservative government next year because of Trump.
Right. So, that's a question I'm posing to you all. Will, Canada or even Australia have that Trump moment? I think Great Britain's already had it with Boris, whatever his name was. They got to be careful too. All the democracies do. I see the pendulum swinging back to democracy, but this time is crucial. And I think in Australia and in Canada, all eyes should be on America to see what's exactly going to happen.
Totally.
Because it can very easily happen to all of you.
Exactly. Don't think we're unaware of this. It's absolutely terrifying. And the ripple effect is that's why Argentina now has Milei, the chainsaw wielding maniac, in power, is because of Trump. And he broke all the rules and conventions of it, and he did his whole campaign on TikTok and so people say he's different, he's going to stick it up the regular politicians, he can't be that bad. The same thing, he won't do this, he won't do that, he's saying this but he won't do this, but he's done it all. That's
exactly what Trump is going to try. He tells you what he's going to do.
He does.
Yeah.
So everybody in Canada, everybody in Australia, let your voices be heard. You can stop this. Trump, with all the tariffs he's going to impose, it's going to cause inflation in this country. I see a constitutional crisis in this country, and I see this country very near a depression. And Trump won't last 4 years. After 4 more years, I see the Dems in power again. And like you said, Lena, we're going to have to roll up our sleeves and get to work to clean up the mess that's going to be made of it.
Yeah.
It will be a mess. Yes.
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge mess. Okay. This is another good question. Jessica Mason says, will Australia, Canada, and the UK ban Twitter, X, as a threat to democracy due to election interference via algorithm rigging? That's another thing that's going to come to the forefront, is this algorithm rigging and the fake information coming out on some of these social media platforms.
Yeah, and there's a tension between everyone having a First Amendment equivalent right to think and hate speech, right? Brazil, under Lula, they stood up and they gave Musk warnings, and then said, that's it, you're banned from Brazil. Now, Lula, the president, is not stupid. He knew that young people particularly could get around these bans, but it's symbolic. It's massively symbolic, and it means Musk won't get any advertising revenue or anything from Brazil. So Brazil has done it. Australia, our government, which is Labor, meaning like Deann, have just introduced this thing of banning under 16s from social media. Now, some people said, oh, isn't that wonderful? I'm sorry, I think we can't save our youth from exposure on social media. You as a family have to still navigate how much access they have to what. But we've got this new law, no one under 16. So I'm asking young people around me all the time, including those in the family. I said, what do you think it's about? They all said a variation of this. They said, it's data harvesting. They want our data from 16, so we're locked in consumers for the rest of our lives. Right? They're not impressed for obvious reasons. Any 8-year-old could get around the wall. And so it's chest beating. Look how responsible we are in Australia, not allowing under 16s on social media. You'd be flat out keeping the under 5s off social media. What world do they live in?
What I see happening is those platforms can continue unless they're spreading, but with the lies and the fake this and that, I see things put in place, legislation put in place to say, wait a minute, if you're going to lie and it's a lie, then you're going to have to pay the penalty civilly for that, in huge civil lawsuits where it would tend to hold some of these platforms accountable. I know it's free speech. I get that. And I don't believe in censorship, but I still feel that there's going to be some way they'll come up with to say, wait a minute, if this misinformation is coming out of Russia or from people like Donald Trump or from Democrats for that purpose or from any party, and we know it's happening, no, we're not going to allow that. In some way, they'll find ways, I think, to try to help curb it. That's what I think.
Well, I think it's part of what we were talking about earlier, which is people having to go through the horror, through the pain, through the financial struggle to lose faith in those platforms.
Right. Exactly.
Right. That's what's going to shift it rather than legislation. So people know in 2 years from now, if they go on X, they're only going to be told rubbish. Right? They have to know that.
We've got time for 2 more questions, and then I got to run because I got another YouTube show.
I've got to go too.
But
maybe one more.
Mike Wild Rivers says, mess things up so bad. Well, things get so bad that the country literally becomes unglued. States spin off the sinking ship. I don't see them seceding because that's illegal. But I think that the country's already unglued to a degree.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
yeah, sorry, go on.
Abraham's Lincoln spirit, when I was at his tomb, said, our democracy shall prevail. Justice will be done, and our union will endure. And I believe that. But we're just going to have to go through a very difficult time to make sure that those 3 things last. That's what my guides are telling me.
And you're going to have to fight for them.
That's right. What do you think, Deann?
Well, I think this election showed a lot of people how important it is to vote, and that and what the consequences are of not voting. And if they don't know now, they're going to find out, with the tariffs and the prices going up that they thought were going to go down. I don't think our country's going to come totally. It's kind of unglued right now, but I think that people are going to when they start raising prices and they start affecting their overtime and it starts affecting them personally, you're going to have people on the right, left, and middle finally having to speak up. And we, the people, are way stronger than them if we stick together.
Exactly.
And that's exactly.
Rather than unglued, let's keep the image of gluing people together, because there will be bonding in the pain. In that sense, because the price of everything is going to go up. Like every umbrella and card and eggs and milk and T-shirt and thing and piece of equipment is going to go through the roof.
With the tariffs he's imposing, and other countries are going to impose them back.
Yeah.
What I'm telling people, there's going to be price gouging. So, when Biden said you pay more for less of a candy bar, I remember when chickens went up so sky high and people just stopped buying them. That's how we can have part of our voices heard. With the price gouging, all of those things going up, guess what? Just don't buy those products.
Yeah.
I'm learning to make my own bread at home. I'm starting to can stuff again because I can foresee the price of groceries and food and a lot of other stuff going really high, and I refuse to put that money in those price gougers' pocket.
And I think it's also time to people to really think about cooperative buying, like co-ops, whether it's in your apartment block or your neighborhood or a bit further afield or your extended family or a group of friends, because if you can wean yourself off Walmart and the other big outlets, even things like cleaning products and stuff, you can either find homemade versions, bit of bicarb and vinegar and things instead of the toxic cleansers, but you can buy anything in bulk and keep the price down for your group of people. I think it'll bring people together.
I wanted to say something real quick. I don't know if any of you guys got to see, speaking of this, the FAFO there on Black Friday. A lot of the Black community was upset because Walmart said that they were going to get rid of DEI. They donated millions or whatever to Trump and stuff. And they said, you don't want us there. And that is just not the Black community, the women's, the gay community. So on Black Friday, that's when they make the most of their money. Everybody boycotted them, and you could see pictures of empty Walmarts with all their stuff backed up. The fruit is going to rot. They're going to be having more fruit come in. If they get so much stuff, they're going to have to lower the prices too. So if we have the power, if we don't buy it, then they can't sell it. You know, they want to raise the prices on us. We don't buy it. We can make homemade things.
Exactly. Okay, so this has been so much fun. Sorry I couldn't get to everybody's questions, but I had a wonderful discussion. And, some people were asking the same questions 4 or 5 times. I saw the question. We just couldn't get to it. So, okay, really fast. Deann, how do they get a hold of you again?
Okay, either Deann Shield Maiden Tarot, or they can call me at 1-833-277-8105, or go to manifestshop.net and they can book a reading there.
Everybody go to Deann's channel. Lena, I've got your email address.
Thank you. You can just look under this video when it comes out.
And everybody go to Lena's channel. Give it a thumbs up. Deann's channel, thumbs up. Real quick, I've got openings on my trip to Peru next September, and openings going to Iceland next October. Call my office, 847-590-5411. Can we do this again? I've really enjoyed this.
Yes, we will.
Okay. I think it's going to be sorely needed in the future that I can see.
Thank you so much. I love being with you guys, and I love you, Mel, and I love you, Lena.
Thank you.
Yes. Big love, everybody.
All right. I got to run. I got another show, but stay well. Bye, everybody.
Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.